Hi, Reject Nation. I'm Greg Alba.
And I'm John.
We're going to watch today a patron video request.
Yeah.
One of our reward tiers, whatever video you request, we must definitely do. 10 times out of 10 is a reaction request. Every once in a while, God decides to bend the rules a little bit, and someone will request a video that is not a reaction. But today, it's another frickin' reaction. That's for Andrew Hayes, who only requests WatchMojo videos.
Like lists?
I usually make for good discussions. Andrew Hayes, awesome movie review channel. Seriously, go check it out. And Andrew, I heard you're going to be down here in September. You know what that means? You're going to be knocking at our front door. Hey, let me in. And I'm going to be like, sorry, don't know who you are. Get away from me, you 15-year-old boy.
And then I'm going to tase you, and we're going to call the police.
Haha, just kidding. We're totally going to do drugs on my birthday.
This took a turn.
Wait, is that who we think it is? Welcome to WatchMojo.com.
I know
Today,
Ryan
we'll be
Gosling
counting
doesn't
down
remember
our
the
picks for the top
titles.
10 movies with famous actors and roles you completely missed.
Wow.
I know Nathan
this
Fillion.
is amazing. You said it was promoting a movie?
Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content.
Yeah.
For this list, we'll be looking exclusively at before they were famous roles, not
is
cameos or Easter egg type casting.
Don't be in
John
such a hurry.
Travolta, Carrie.
I'm hurrying away from you, you know that?
Harrison Ford in American
Pain right in the
Graffiti.
ass.
Number 10, Mystic Pizza.
Matt Damon.
This late 80s coming-of-age flick is best remembered for its rom-com center, as three waitresses of a small pizza joint, including a young Julia Roberts, navigate their romantic lives. But while following the ups and downs of Daisy, Jojo, and Kat's lives, it might be easy to overlook then newcomer, but current A-lister Matt Damon. In his debut role, Matt Damon plays Steamer, the younger brother of Charles,
Steamer.
Daisy's affluent boyfriend. A small role, he only appears in the one dinner scene, in which little Steam's discovery of
remember
lobster
that.
tamale provides a little on-screen levity in an otherwise tense family affair.
It's the shit, Steve. Don't eat it.
Number 9, Carrie, John Travolta. Brian De Palma successfully made Stephen King's debut novel a classic horror experience. In the role of Carrie,
we're still at the
Sissy
top of
Spacek
the
brought
list. Maybe when we get
sympathetic life to the tortured telepath,
like
and her
1 through
final
5.
meltdown at the prom is one of the most iconic scenes in the history of the horror genre. Newcomers to the film, however, are sometimes
such a
surprised to
crush on
find a
Carrie.
very familiar face. Before John Travolta donned Danny Zuko's leather jacket, he played Billy Nolan, a loser older boyfriend of Chris Hargensen, and one of the bullies responsible for Carrie's terrible prom night.
Yeah, that's my baby. Yeah, yeah.
Number 8, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Kevin Bacon. In this classic John Hughes comedy, two men are forced together with increasingly awkward results as they attempt to
I
make
actually
it
don't
home
remember
by
him in
one
that.
means of transportation or another. With the combined comedic antics of Steve Martin and John Candy, it's easy to forget anyone else in the film at all. In one scene, however, we get a glimpse of a young Kevin Bacon, who despite only being credited as Taxi Racer and working with little screen time, manages to make an impression nonetheless. With the wicked grin and devilish sideways glances, he raced Martin's character, Neil Page, for what felt like the last vacant taxi in New York City. Number 7, Spider-Man 3, Joe
Oh,
Manganiello.
yeah.
That's
Sometimes
actually a
it's easy to
really-
forget that between
I
all
made
the
a
web
meme
slinging
about
and
this.
fighting,
It's a
Peter
really
Parker is just a
easy
teenager
one to
trying
forget.
get through high school. And unfortunately,
Because he
like
looks just
many
so
high
different
schoolers,
now.
he
Yeah,
had to
he's
put
so
up
much
with a bully or
sexier.
two. In Parker's case, the bully was Flash Thompson, who fans will remember from the comics as Peter's classic tormentor. We first saw Joe Manganiello in the role back in the 2002 beginning of the trilogy, ridiculously outmatched when he picks a fight with Parker.
That was such a cool movie.
Later, in Spider-Man
I
3,
always
we get a
remember
brief appearance of Flash and Harry
What?
Street.
I don't remember
What?
that.
Remember the Titans, Ryan Gosling.
I'll never
Set in
forget that.
1971, this Jerry Bruckheimer produced outing is more than just the sports
He
film
like
it
got
appears to be
along
on
with
the
his
surface.
black roommate
Based
right
on true
away.
events,
Yeah.
The movie recounts the story of Herman Miller, a
Unracist.
high school football coach, and his struggles in Alexandria, Virginia, to allow black students to play on the T.C. Williams High School football team.
He's seriously barely in this movie.
Alan Bosley, a player put in during an important play in a critical, if rigged, match, is in fact a fresh-faced Ryan Gosling.
I can play with Roosevelt, but I cannot play with these guys.
While he doesn't get much screen time, even then the Canadian heartthrob had undeniable magnetism and one of those faces you just can't forget. Number 5, Zoolander, Alexander Skarsgård.
Whoa!
Cast someone to be really ridiculously
Whoa, that is him!
than Alexander
He's
Skarsgård.
so skinny. He looks like a nerd.
And being really ridiculously good looking.
Considering this early 2000s Ben Stiller comedy
Wow.
of David Bowie, Owen Wilson, Will Ferrell, Mia Jovovich, David Duchovny, and Vince Vaughn, you'd be forgiven for overlooking a big name or two. Skarsgård plays Mikas, one of Derek Zoolander's beautiful roommates.
It's like, excuse me, but have you ever heard of styling gel?
Sadly, he is not long for the film, as during a misguided gasoline fight intended to cheer up Derek, he perishes in a terrible fire.
Damn.
Number 4, Donnie Darko, Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Not only did this cult
Oh,
classic
that's what
take the
that
role of
was
the most
from.
terrifying
Okay.
rabbit
Yeah,
ever,
yeah.
it also brought siblings Jake and Maggie Gyllenhaal to public attention. Even after multiple viewings though, what with all the metaphysical concepts and time travel talk, you just might have missed a young Seth Rogen. He plays Ricky Danforth, a student who bullies Gina Malone's character at the bus stop, acts out in class, and attacks Donnie and Gretchen on Halloween night.
Oh.
Basically, he's a jerk. It's an odd role to see the now well-known funny man playing. But hey, when you're starting out, you take whatever roles come your way.
That's true.
Number 3, Sin City, Nick Offerman. The tones
What?
are dark, the shadows are heavy, and to be honest, it took us a long
Whoa!
and straight-talking turn as Ron Swanson on the American sitcom Parks and Recreation.
Wow.
Nick Offerman had a small role in 2000's
Wow.
comic book adaptation of Sin City. When your character is a hitman sent to take out Bruce Willis's character, in this case Detective John Hardigan, you know it can only end one way for you: badly. A man of few words, he is not long for the screen here, but next time you watch, he'll be unmissable.
Yeah.
Number 2, Saving Private Ryan, Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
This highly respected war film also brought together a stellar cast of future all-stars, including Paul Giamatti, Bryan Cranston, and Vin Diesel. So this was a tough call, but the vote here had to go to fan-favorite character actor Nathan Fillion.
Sir, Private Ryan recordings ordered.
At ease.
While the Alberta-born actor seems to have a role, either live or voice, in nearly everything today, and is perhaps best known, or at least adored, for his role of Malcolm Reynolds, captain of the Serenity in the short-lived hit Firefly. Back in 1999, he was Private James Frederick Ryan. The other Ryan. Minnesota Ryan.
What does that mean my brothers are okay?
Yeah, I'm sure they're fine.
Are you sure that they're okay, though? Huh?
We're looking for a different private, Ryan. This is just a big foul-up.
Fortunately for his private, it was just an
Hey,
unfortunate
that
mix-up
character.
with saving Matt Damon's
What a
life. Again. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
My dad's named Mitch, and he's a submarine commander.
What about Elijah Wood in Back to the Future 2?
Ooh.
He works for WBLM Radio.
Yeah, she's great looking, great. Little tad on the androgynous side, but stylish.
Yeah, I forgot my mantra.
Oh, you traveling by yourself? What, you're 12?
Michelle Williams. Yeah.
Wow.
Someone gonna meet you in Los Angeles?
Number 1, Apocalypse Now, Harrison Ford.
That's your number
This
1?
Vietnam classic has a little of everything, and now you know it has Harrison
Really?
Ford too. 2 years off the set of A New Hope, then newcomer Harrison Ford had yet to truly make the A-list. And with the dual
this list
powerhouse
called?
performance of Martin Sheen and Marlon Brando, this was an
Famous
easy role to
actors
miss.
you didn't know
Cast
were
as
in.
Colonel Lucas. Yes, this was a nod to George Lucas. He is one of the military officers who briefs Sheen's captain Benjamin L. Willard and
Colonel
gives his orders
Lucas?
to assassinate the rogue Colonel Kurtz.
When you find the colonel, infiltrate his team
He's
by
like the setup of the
whatever
movie,
he's
though.
doing.
Yeah, I feel like
Spectacle though he may be, once seen, you'll wonder how you ever missed him.
You understand, Captain?
I mean,
this mission
I don't.
does not exist, nor will it ever exist.
Do you agree with our picks? Check
Kind
out
of.
these other great clips from WatchMojo
Kind
and
of.
Say like
subscribe for new videos every
40%
day.
of your list.
Well, yeah, because a couple of those you could just have forgotten that they were in there,
Yeah.
but they're not necessarily shocking to be reminded about.
I feel like this list would have worked better as 10 famous actors you forgot were in a movie.
Yeah.
That I think that would have worked a lot better. The most shocking one to me was Nick Offerman in Sin City.
Yeah, I completely missed that.
Yeah,
I didn't forget that.
I've seen Nick Offerman several times, and I remember this scene
Yeah.
too. But then looking
Even
at
when
the
they-
footage, I'm like, that is Nick Offerman. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. It's like when they showed the wide shot, I was like, what? Where?
Yeah.
You know, and they cut it and you're like, oh.
that was him.
Or Joe Manganiello in Spider-Man, I feel like is another one that's
yeah.
easy to miss.
Like that's
you know?
one I know, but that's because I've like looked him up or something
Yeah,
one day.
yeah.
So I learned that a long time ago.
Mhm.
But that is something that I'll even sometimes forget. Like it doesn't immediately come to mind. But if you were to ask me who plays Flash Thompson in that, I'd eventually pick my brain and go, oh yeah, that's Joe Manganiello.
Yeah.
That's one I think you can definitely miss because he looks so different. I mean, he's still like a good-looking young dude, but now he's like sexy insanely buff. I'm like, what the hell happened to that guy? Speaking of a dude who completely transformed his look and appearance, Alexander Skarsgård on True Blood as well.
Yeah. Zoolander's a family favorite, so I've seen that movie like a million times, and that was a shock to me just there. Especially, because he's not buff in this movie. Like, he does look kind of almost nerdy. Like, you know, and he's such a goof in both of those scenes that, that was a shock to me.
It's easy to see those guys when they become famous and go, well, that's why they're at where they're at. I mean, look at their looks and their body type and all that. And then when you look at how they start, you're like, oh man, they didn't just start off like insanely cut, did they?
This trend is new.
They've had to adapt in their careers over time, haven't they? I feel like most of them you'll just kind of forget. A lot of them are more like, oh yeah, that's right, they're in it.
Yeah, Carrie's one of those where I'm like, I just remember Carrie, and I'm not shocked that John Travolta's in it at all, because I didn't miss that.
Because if you were to see Carrie and you see John Travolta, you're not going to take a glance and go, wait a minute, is that John Travolta here?
Well, and Carrie's also like a classic, so it's not as hard to believe that he would be in there.
Yeah, but that's close to the top of the list, so I'm a little more forgiving with that. Matt Damon and Mystic Pizza, I knew that forever. I mean, that was like the only thing I ever actually knew about that movie. Like Matt Damon was his first film.
Your boy.
My boy, Ryan G-String.
G-String. Ryan G-String. That's your stripper name.
Yeah, Ryan G-String.
Come out to the song from Drive and be perfect.
Oh, that'd be...
Do a dance to night call.
I don't sleep. I don't... Oh, man, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it's the future. It's your new career.
I want Ryan Gosling to do that for me.
Hey.
Even Ryan Gosling now, too. G-String is buff now, you know?
He is.
He's not like
cut.
a stick anymore like he is here.
You can't be average in Hollywood in these days.
No, you gotta be buff.
You gotta eat 5 chickens a day and spend most of your time at the gym.
It's the only way to keep up the rest of the world now. It's weird with that movie because even when I wasn't in my I love Ryan Gosling phase, I always remembered he was in this film. For some reason, his look does stand out. I can never remember exactly what his lines were or what like important role he played in the film, but his look did stand out. So what they say here, you know, you just can't forget his face for some reason, is a good point.
Yeah.
Which also makes me go, why is he on this list?
Because it's impossible to miss him once you've seen him that first time in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I feel like for him they could have gone with Goosebumps, because that's hard. Has blown my mind like more than
TV
once.
Show though.
Yeah, but this doesn't say movies; it just says roles, man.
Semantics.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen and Donnie Darko. I completely forgot he was in that film. Actually.
Yeah, I feel like that's a piece of trivia that I forget until I'm reminded every few years.
That's a good point, though. What they say about in the beginning, actors just do take on whatever roles they can.
Yeah.
I feel like when Seth Rogen first became big, people didn't view the guy as like a hard worker until he started like, now he's writing this movie, now he's directing this movie, now he's producing this movie.
It.
Yeah, he really proved it. But when you look at the early stages of his career, this guy has been a hard worker forever. When you see his personality too, he just seems like such a laid back, cool, relaxed guy who finds everything silly. So it's just kind of interesting to me when I see this guy back here in Donnie Darko days. Of like, man, this guy really has come a long way. That's weirdly the thing that popped in my mind when I saw him here.
Well, and that's a role too where I feel like it is kind of easy to miss or forget that he was in that movie, because it's just not the kind of role you're used to him playing. It's not the kind of personality you're used to seeing him in. Even if you're more familiar with like Freaks and Geeks when he's more that age, it's just a different type of character.
I'm actually just not a big Donnie Darko fan to begin with.
I respect that movie, but I don't have the urge to like watch it a million times.
Nathan Fillion had like the only funny scene in the movie.
Yeah, the one moment of levity.
Yeah.
Poor Private Ryan.
Where Private Ryan thinks his brother's dead.
And like seeing this particular scene out of context made it that much more like, oh poor guy. Because you're about to have like your world rocked and then these guys are about to drop you.
I feel like Nathan Fillion and Bruce Campbell are kind of on a similar wavelength in terms of their careers. They're both like huge in kind of this like cult world of fandom, you know?
This like really accessible cult.
And they're both charming, sarcastic, tough guys. I don't know if they've ever paired up, but I think they'd be great to pair up in a movie together.
I feel like it's probably happened somehow in some small way, but yeah, if they could actually just like do a joint venture, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That would be a cult dream for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Elijah Wood in Back to the Future 2 would have been perfect for this list.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one you could definitely miss.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to where he was right now.
He was in when he was shooting
the kid with the game game?
Yeah, when he's shooting the gun.
You have to use your hands?
Yeah.
That's like a baby still.
Yeah, I think it's that one. Yeah.
All right.
But Harrison Ford in Apocalypse Now, that's not something I think you would miss, though. That's just something you might kind of forget because it's at the beginning of the movie, but he's the one who introduces the plot and the mission. So he's an integral character to the story.
I feel like that's an actor you'd have missed if you watched Apocalypse Now when it had just come out in the theaters and maybe you forgot. But like if you grew up any time after that movie's been out, I feel like he's just another actor in that movie.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like him in American Graffiti is easier to miss than that.
Yeah, probably.
Because American Graffiti has a cowboy hat and he's doing an accent. And
drag racing.
Here, he just looks like Professor Indiana Jones.
Yeah, just in an army outfit. Maybe this is what Indy did when he got called into the war.
I mean, this came out in June, so I don't know when they like recorded and put this video together. But even Matt Damon and Alan Tudyk in Deadpool 2.
Oh yeah.
You know, something like that. Or even Sam Neill in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
You know?
I saw that movie again just recently, and I still had to really squint through his beard and hair again to figure out it was him.
Those things I think would have been better for this list.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's a solid 40% here where I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Step it up, Mojo.
All right, guys. Well, do you agree with WatchMojo's list? What other roles are there? Put your comments down below on WatchMojo's video. You guys can subscribe to the Reject Nation, click that notification bell, and check out Andrew Hayes' YouTube channel, people. I love Andrew Frederick Hayes.